Hello everybody, Dave Hill coming at you live on the video today. Welcome to my video, welcome to my guitar instructional video course. And I know that you've seen some of my other videos and you've been studying hard, and it's been really enjoyable making these videos. So practice hard and you're going to continue to get lots of education and skills out of these videos. And tell all your friends about them too, because I'm sure they want to learn this stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in the first 24 lessons. This is lesson 25, by the way. We've covered a lot of grounds. We've talked about the different chord forms based off the cage systems. We've talked about linking those together up and down the neck. We've talked about locating the roots, right? And then we've built on those cage system chords and built major sevenths and dominant sevenths and even some minor sevenths. Well, we're going to continue on with some new chords today to build on our chord knowledge. And it's a different type of chord than what we've had up till now. These are going to be called major six chords, and we're going to talk about that and have those be the focus of our lesson today. So let's take a look at what or how a major six chord is built. I've taken the time to write it on the board here so you can analyze it. But a major six chord is a simple major triad built from a root, a major third, and a perfect fifth. Okay? But there's an additional note. And what note do you think that is? Well, lo and behold, it's the sixth degree of the major scale. That's why it's called a major sixth. Okay, so if you took the stacked notes of a chord and you went 1, 3, 5, you can't really play it like this on the guitar, but it would look like that, or more appropriately, it would sound maybe like this. That would be a voicing that you would hear that would illustrate the sound of a major six. So it has a bright major quality to it, and it has a little bit of extra color because of that sixth interval in it. Or it's simply a major triad with a sixth degree added to it. So it's perfect for situations where you want a brighter sound than a straight major triad like this. These are all major triads, but that extra added sixth makes it a little bit more interesting and more complex in sound, but still essentially somewhat of a basic color. But it's perfect for certain situations. A lot of jazzy kind of R&B stuff might use six. You might hear stuff like this. I'm playing basically a blues there, but I'm using all major six chords. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the chord forms that you can play on your guitar to create major six shapes. Okay, so let's refer to these from the standpoint of where they're originating from. In other words, the core cage system shape that you can look inside of these shapes at. Okay, so this first form right here, okay, notice that there's an X on the low E string. Right there. Now that simply means that if you were going to play the root in the chord, you could play it there. But you don't have to play it. You can simply play the remaining notes that I have above. Okay? You could actually play the root, and it would sound like that. Or you could simply just play it like this, and it's going to sound like a major six. Okay? So you can even play the root with your thumb if you want. But I want you to take note of the fact this chord form originally is from the major triad shape built off the sixth string like this, which is originally from the E shape. Okay? But this is a major six, and remember what we have is a root, third, fifth, and sixth. And so in this particular voicing, this note right here is the root, here's the third, and here is the sixth. Okay? Now you might be asking yourself, where's the fifth? How come there's no fifth in the chord? Well, you don't have to have the fifth in every chord if you're adding extensions like we've added here. We've added the sixth, which is considered an extension. And to make the voicing, the chord fingering suitable for the guitar, sometimes you have to omit a note. In this case, we omit the fifth. If we wanted to play the fifth, it's possible, but it requires a different kind of finger. We might have to do this. Right? There's the fifth on the bottom now. Right? So we could actually play it right here if we want. And that's fine, but it's probably easier and stylistically just as clear to play it like this, and it sounds fine. The fifth is not that important in this voicing because it doesn't give us any more color, okay? So that's from this original G form. Now we've got a G6, okay? Now you'll notice right below it, I got rid of the root on the chord right here, and I added it on top, okay? I could have done it right here, but I just wrote it as another voicing, okay? So another way to play it is just omit the root in the bottom and put it on top, right? And if you're playing with the bass player or someone who's going to give you the lower end of the sound, you don't have to play the root anyway. You can just play this, okay? But once again, if you wanted to play the root, you could even play it with your thumb. Okay, if you do that, you just have to make sure you don't hit the open A. My thumb is kind of deadening the A string there. Okay, and these are really good chords for sliding. They just kind of have that jazzy sort of slide to them that feels good. Okay, I even put a little vibrato, you'll hear that. Okay, so there's a form based off this root location that's a major 6, two different shapes, or two different ways to play. Okay, now let's go to the 5th string root and find a major 6. So if we were to go up to C right here, there's our typical C major chord, right? Now how are we going to add a 6 to this chord? In this case, it's really easy because the 6 is available right on top of the string, on the top E string that we're not playing. Remember that an additional chord extension can be played in a variety of octaves, okay? So in this case, the 6 could be played literally right here, or it could be played right here. It's still an A in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's still considered the 6. It's just that it's more logical to play it on the top right here because we've got all the notes of C major on the bottom. All we need is the 6, and it's available right there on the top, so it's very convenient, okay? There'll be other ways that you'll play it where it'll be lower in the voicing, and that's okay too. So in this case, it's on the top. So it's really easy to play that one. It's not that much different than just the bar chord you'd play like this, right? But it's a little bit easier because in this case, you just bar all the way across. And there's your major 6. Okay? This is kind of an old-timey kind of chord. In other words, you hear major 6 chords a lot of times associated with old-style jazz and old-style American pop tunes. Even the Beatles used major 6 chords a lot in the endings of their songs. Kind of nice kind of an ending sound. Okay, so now we've got a 6th string root, and we've got a 5th string root. Okay? Now, you can even look next to the next diagram here, and you'll see a variation of the form that I use here, but now, check it out. If you want to put the 6 on a lower octave, like I was referring to, then you would play it in this shape right here. Now you'd have root, 3rd, 6th, root, and that's what we have here. So once again, you'll notice that in this case, we don't have a 5th. We only have a root, a 3rd, a 6th, and a root again. This chord here has the 5th in it, right? So listen to the difference versus this, right? They're both major 6 simply because they have the 6th and the 3rd and the root, and the 5th in this case is implied. It's implied in the scale harmony. In this case, it's actually truly in the chord, but they're both major 6. Okay? So that gives you 3 different places to play them. There's more shapes that you can find, but these are going to be what we're going to use today. Okay? So once again, sliding this one around makes for nice. That would be with the root right here, so this would be F major 6. It kind of has a nice, almost like big band feel when you do that. That's kind of a nice sound, isn't it? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that we can do with them now. Okay, what I like to do sometimes is go between a major 6 and a major seventh. Now remember some of our major seventh chords that we had from our previous examples. This was one of the shapes that we learned a while ago, a couple lessons ago. I believe it was lesson 21. Okay? Now, what you can do with this chord that's kind of nice, I'm going to have to show you even another voicing of a major sixth so you can check out what I'm going to do. But here's a major seventh, and it's called a major seventh because we have a root, a major seventh, a third, and a fifth. Okay, the seventh in this case is right here in the bottom octave, but you can put it here and it's still a major seventh. But hear the difference between that sound and something like this. Much more simple in color. This is more sophisticated. Okay, but what I like to do sometimes with major sevenths is mix in a major sixth. Okay, so I might do something like this. Okay, now you hear what I'm doing here? I'm going major seventh and I'm going major sixth. Okay, now that brings me up to the need to write another voicing down because I just realized I didn't give you that one. Let's take this one off and show you what I'm doing here on this other voicing. Okay, I have the root right here, and I have the sixth now in this case. This is still in the same zone here of this form. Okay, but now I put the sixth in a lower octave. Okay, so it's this octave instead of up here, but it's still in this root location. So now that gives me the capability of going, I'm going to essentially keep these three notes the same, right? But the note that's changing inside is the major seventh going to the major sixth. So we have this kind of sound. Right? I don't know if you can hear that very well, but okay. And there's different ways you can do that on different roots. Again, let me show you another way to do that on the fifth string with this shape. Okay, we have a major seventh here, right? Now, the only other major sixth we learned was this one, and we learned this one, right? Those are great major sixth chord, but there's another way you can play a major sixth using the same technique of interchanging between a major seventh and a major sixth. So we're going to do this now. We're going to go. Okay, so this is yet another major sixth chord, and it really works well when we're going back and forth between these forms. Now let's check out the next voicing. So this is 1, 3, 6, 3. So it's like I took this shape. Let me get rid of this one here for a minute. I basically took this form. The third is right there, and then the sixth is right here, and the third is on top.